Jerry specifically, he played with 3 different MVPs. He knows a thing or two about quarterbacks and players getting credit. He somehow played with 3 different MVPs. And people want to talk about, the GOATs of all time. Like Joe Montana, who you put in as the greatest of all time. Joe Montana, Tom Brady, is it going to be Patrick? It's Jerry freaking Rice. He made these guys all look good. He's the reason they all won MVPs. Am I wrong? Mm-hmm. Come on, man. And Bomani Jones, by the way, he's been on fire. If you're not following him, at Bomani_Jones, he's got some hot takes in some of these quarterbacks. I don't even know if there are hot takes, to be honest. But he may or may not have left off a certain San Francisco 49ers quarterback, maybe off his top 10.
Well, listen to who he thinks is going to the Super Bowl.
Oh.
The Lions are going to the Super Bowl. That's right. We got to change the name of the Super Bowl because it's the Gator Bowl. The Gator Bowl in Las Vegas. Pink Stink Gators, my Detroit players. That's right. I'm going to explain to you right now why it is that I feel that way. Christian McCaffrey, he dinged up, right? Debo is past the level of banged up. Debo is hurt. Brock Purdy didn't look so great. The 49ers defense, that secondary, it does not look great. I'm saying on behalf of myself, Vinny Goodwill, and the rest of Detroit, go Lions.
He's having some fun.
Bomani doesn't talk like that normally. No. Whenever he said, there was some shtick in there, but also I think that's what most America's at. If you don't have a rooting interest in this game, they're going for the Lions. If you're not a Chiefs, Ravens, Niners fan, everyone is piling on the Lions.
Yeah, it's the Niners against the world.
It is.
It's the Bay Area against the world, and I'm cool with that.
But it's weird because it's usually the Niners aren't viewed as the quote-unquote, and I don't think people are viewing them as a villain. They just love the Lions so much. And the 49ers are in their Lions, way.
But for some reason, nationally, Brock Purdy
it's weird.
Is being fairly uncriticized. He is.
What is it with Brock Purdy that makes him so damn polarizing? I don't get it.
I don't know.
He's an aw shucks kind of a guy. We loved that with Tim Tebow, did we not? We covered him 24/7.
I don't get it.
Jimmy Garoppolo, I get it. He was handsome. He said the feel's great, baby. I know he got. I don't even think Jimmy got this much hate, did he?
I don't know why. I don't know why the Brock Purdy hate is. Well, when you're top 5 and you're top 3 in every passing category, you're going to get criticized. You're going to be looked at closely. In a Ravens game, a lot of people can't unsee the Baltimore Ravens game on Christmas night. They can't unsee the 4 interceptions. They can't see the 3 other oh-no throws in that football game, where he had about 10 to 12 oh-no throws in that football game. And a lot of people can't unsee it.
Why, though, are we so – and this was his first full season in the NFL. I know, he was a rookie last year, but this was his first legit full season in the NFL. Why are we saying, with C.J. Stroud, right, or Jordan Love, wow, the future's bright over there. They look great. They're going to be something to be forced to be reckoned with. And they're giving all the credit to those quarterbacks and what they've done. But Brock Purdy is oh, man, this guy doesn't deserve to be in the conversation. What is it?
I don't know what it is.
Because that seems counterintuitive to me if we want to give all the praise to CJ, and rightfully so. Right. CJ Stroud was a baller this year.
Maybe because he's a number 2 overall pick. He went to Ohio State. We've seen him for a longer time. Not a lot of people watch Iowa State football. I don't know. I don't know what it is, Spadoni.
Is it because it looks a little different because he doesn't have the cast around him? But even then, we're going to knock the guy for having talent around him.
Yeah, I don't know.
The whole thing just seems so odd to me. It's okay to say that Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson are better than Brock Purdy. I don't think that – are we that offended by it? I'm still talking about the Ryan Clark thing, obviously, because that just really bothered me. Why are we so anti-Brock Purdy? Because I feel like we as Americans, don't we love, a fairy tale kind of
story?
We love that.
This guy was the last pick of the draft.
Are we tired of that? Because we already saw it with Kurt Warner. We already saw it with Tom Brady. Are we already tired of that? Do we want him to be a villain now?
Yeah,
That's not who Brock Purdy is. He's an aw shucks. He's a farmer kind of a guy who's on the farm during the bye week. Iowa, I don't know. I don't know. Let's go to Eric in Oakland. Maybe he knows. But he says something unusual about these 49ers. Eric, what's happening? You're on the roast.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
I've been down since Saturday and we shouldn't have won that game. Let's just be honest. But then I'm looking, and I just get this weird feeling. I'll take you back to the catch game. And a lot of the Dallas defenders would say that Montana was throwing the ball out of bounds, and all of a sudden out of nowhere comes a streaking Dwight Clark in the back, right? So then I look at this game, and I'm like, dude, that pass that Brock Purdy had to Juwan Jennings, the one where it went over the linebackers down before the defenders. I mean, the only way that pass should have been made, honestly, is a Steph Curry alley-oop for a dunk. That's like a two-handed pass. If you go back and look at it in slow motion, that was one of the sickest, most mystical throws I've ever seen in my life. It should not have been completed. I cannot explain it. I get goosebumps, and I think that, you know what? Hey, Niner fans, something is in the works for us. I think 30 years of being patient is going to pay off. Keep your heads up. There's something out of the ordinary. I'm not weird like that either, I'll be honest with you, but I just feel something strange is in the air. And that play right there, I'm not even going to talk about the Ayuk.
Something good then.
Right there.
That doesn't sound strange. Yes. It sounds like something good is in the air for the 49ers, Eric.
Yeah, but we can't. I can't put a finger on it. It's just weird. That pass should not have been. Go back and look at it. It should not have been completed. Two-handed. You could maybe even throw it up two-handed. Maybe not. I don't understand how that pass was completed. And anybody that's saying that this guy is a game manager or whatever, man, you know what? Stop the hate, man. Stop the hate. This kid is doing everything he can.
Let me ask you this, Eric.
Physical powers.
Let me ask you this: who got more pressure on him on Sunday? Is it Shanahan? Is it Purdy? Is it this defensive line? Is it the secondary? Who's got the most pressure on him on Sunday?
I got to be honest with you. It better be that D-line, because that D-line has not showed up all year. I mean, forget about all this talk about these sacks and them picking up these. They have not showed up all this year. And to be honest with you, you know, the most pressure should lie on is actually Wilkes. Wilkes, you got to activate your dogs, man. You got to get your dogs going in the trenches, bro. You have one of the best front sevens in the history of the league. You got to get them going, man, because they'll make your secondary better. You can't coach from the back to the front. You got to coach from the front to the back.
Interesting. All right, Eric.
I have a hard time. Again, it goes back to Steve. It always goes back to Steve Wilkes for some reason. I mean, the defense did their job at the end of the day. They got 2 turnovers. So, I mean, I don't. And the what do you just
red
say?
zone defense was very good.
Yes,
Saturday.
the greatest, one of the greatest defensive lines in NFL history. Let's take a step back here. Chase Young has been kind of an underachiever. You have Nick Bosa, he's a DPOY. Hargrave, very good player. Eric Armstead, a good player. It's not one of the greatest defensive lines of all time. I understand what you're saying. You have a lot of money invested into it. It's been kind of underwhelming.
What is going on?
I'm not going to blame that solely on Steve Wilkes, because at the end of the day, the players have to make plays. Like, you got to beat your man. Chase Young getting blocked by a wide receiver? Come on, man. Like, come on.
Baldy touched on the quickness of this 49ers pass rush and the lack of quickness initially when the ball is snapped. They're not making quick moves. They're not beating their guys right off the snap. It's taking them a couple seconds. A lot of power rushes, a lot of bull rushes. Where's the speed rushes at? Do we even have the speed on the defensive line? That explosiveness. Like, when you pay Nick Bosa, and this is why it starts with Nick Bosa. And it's the entire defensive line. Javon Hargrave, he got paid a lot of money. $40 million guaranteed. All right? Guaranteed dollars.
A lot of money.
Eric Armstead, a lot of guaranteed money. Signing bonuses. Just to sign, I think Javon Hargrave got $23 million. Just to sign. I don't remember seeing number 98 make a play last week.
I saw Javon Kinlaw make a play.
Saw Kinlaw make a play.
That's about it.
I'm not mad for Mook Dog. Not bad at Mook
But
Dog.
You shouldn't be relying on him to be making plays. That's another thing.
Should we or should we not? He is a first-round pick.
Well, he is, but I think at this point he's been kind of a bust.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. You know, you said it, Mook Dog. Mook Dog, that was Spadoni, not me.
Also, hey, prove me wrong.
Yeah, I'm going to leave Mook Dog alone.
I'm not at the practices.
Yeah. Nick Bosa, when you get paid $120 million guaranteed, you're not being paid to just say, hey, I had 7 pressures and no sacks. You're paid to be a game changer, not a guy who just makes a couple plays here and there. You're paid to change the football game.
I always go back, Bonte, to something Baldy says, and Baldy obviously joined you guys yesterday. Brian Baldinger, search 95.7 The Game on YouTube, find the entire interview there. Hell of a job, NFL Network, former NFL offensive lineman. He talked last year with Nick Bosa. And he's like, hey, man, I got to tell you, this Max Crosby guy, he plays every single snap. He does everything. He plays at a high level. I have him above you in the DPOY rankings. Right. He's like, that's great. You know, Max is allowed to do all that because he's not going to be playing in the postseason. I gotta save myself. I got to rest. I got to take plays off.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you say that, Nick? You got to perform in the playoffs then, man. If you're saying you're saving yourself for the playoffs, you got to make big plays when it comes around. So I look at that. I always go back to that quote of Brian Baldinger talking to Nick Bosa, saying he's going to take, they limit his snap counts throughout the regular season to keep him fresh for the playoffs, Bonte. Well, it's the playoffs.
It is the playoffs.
Where are the plays at?
Where are the plays at?
Because why am I not playing you every single snap during the regular season then? If this is the production we're going to get, in the play. So a lot of pressure on him, a lot of pressure on Shanahan, a lot of pressure on Purdy still though too. I think we are getting a little too carried away. He is the quarterback.
He is.
He's going to have to make some plays here, whether it's to ice the game, whether it is a check down here or there.
Right.
That needs to be played. Whether it's throwing the ball away. Right? And taking and taking the sack if you need to take the sack, not extending it because he still is a relatively young player. I know we like to think of him as this grizzled vet because he's played 3 playoff games from start to finish. But he's still a young guy.
The reason why I say he doesn't have the most pressure on him, and he is a quarterback. The reason why is because Christian McCaffrey should be the lead dog this week. Christian McCaffrey is the most important player on offense. I believe that all season, every single game. Now, you can say, hey, they lost the NFC Championship game without Brock Purdy. Obviously, you need a quarterback. You need a comparable quarterback who can make a throw here and there. Not having Brock Purdy in the NFC Championship game last season destroyed the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey carried the offense, and everybody knew the ball was going to number 23. And he was the only one on offense who had a decent day against Philadelphia. Now, Christian McCaffrey, a lot of complaints about him not getting a lot of touches. Well, you know what? This week he's going to get some touches. And Detroit's run D has been really good. They're top 3 in the league in terms of rushing defense. Their rush defense is very, very good.
Are you worried about the workload at all with Christian McCaffrey
Not
this
at
week?
This point, no.
The Theragun didn't kind of concern you on the side?
It's the NFC Championship game. He's going to be ready to go.
All right.
He'll get to bye week if they win, and he'll be ready for the Super Bowl.
Okay. You don't want to see any Elijah Mitchell or Jordan Mason this week?
Sure. But Christian McCaffrey has to be on the football field.
Yes.
I need him on the field. This is a throwback game.
Can they win this game without Christian McCaffrey having a good one?
No.
Really?
He has to have a dominant game. Now, will it be tough? Absolutely. Detroit. Look at their run defense here. Detroit on the ground. They only give up 82 rushing yards per game on the ground on the road. On the season, they're number 2 in the league. 87.7 yards per game on the ground they give up. The Niners are 3rd in the league, giving up only 92 yards per game on the ground. But the Niners' run defense has looked leaky, hasn't looked the same over last month. But McCaffrey does need a big game. He is your game changer. He's your difference maker. He's your safety valve. Number 23 has to dominate on Sunday. He just does.
I think if you saw last week, too, at Tampa, if you were watching that game, Rachaad White, I think, has the blueprint, and Rachaad White is nowhere near the skill level of Christian McCaffrey. He's very good, but he is not on McCaffrey's level. 9 carries, 55 yards. That's average of 6.
Catches?
4 receptions for 36.
Yeah, he wasn't bad.
He wasn't bad. And if I'm Christian McCaffrey, I'm looking at that. I'm like, I could double those stats, both of them. Running and catching the ball. So that's a blueprint right there for you. And don't get it twisted. The Lions defense, and this is why I don't think me and you are in lockstep on this, Bonte. We're not very worried about the Niners offense here.
Right.
It's mostly on the defensive end because the Lions just give up chunk plays after chunk plays after chunk plays. They are also bend and don't break type of a defense, and they're opportunistic. That's why you got to limit, don't force it, Purdy. You don't need to do that against this defense because you'll get an opportunity next down and the next one. Aiden Hutchinson, though, you got to be aware of this guy because he can pick the ball off. He is a fumble hunter as well. There's a lot of guys in the NFL that just get the sacks, but they don't get the fumbles with them. He is a strip sack artist when it comes to that.